The reading indicated a level of technology that only the Institute could achieve. The moment this information came to light, our mission became clear. The Institute, and everyone responsible for the creation of the Synths, must be eliminated at all costs. To accomplish this goal, we need to locate the Institute's headquarters. I've had our scribes meticulously searching the Commonwealth. They've come up empty-handed. The only logical explanation is that they've gone underground. That's where we need your help.
Well, guess what? This is your lucky day. I have a way inside.
The method is useless without the means to make it work. Perhaps we should pool our resources to achieve our common goal. Now, indulge me for a moment by satisfying my curiosity. Tell me why you're so eager to get into the Institute.
I think they're the ones that kidnapped my son.
The Institute preys on the weak to further their own ends. Together, we'll make them pay for their crimes. I'll call ahead and brief Proctor Ingram. Report to the airport, and get to work on your project right away.
Just fixed a few power armor mods and gave them to Tegan. You might want to check them out.
Elder Maxson said you'd help me build the signal interceptor.
So, looks like you're calling the shots around here now, huh? Alright, I'll bite. What does your new miracle device do?
Did you know the Institute has a teleporter called the Molecular Relay?
Molecular... what? No. Molecular transmission via encrypted RF waves? Okay, even I have to admit, that's genius. This explains why we've been picking up anomalous energy readings all across the Commonwealth. Not to mention how they get their tin soldiers to come out of the damn walls. And this little beauty allows you to literally hijack a return signal. Instead of grabbing the intended target, it grabs you instead. Impressive.
That all sounds impressive, but can you build it?
If I can keep that flying pile of junk in the air, I can work miracles. It's difficult to make out all the details here, but I'm thinking you can get started by building a stabilized reflector platform. It's gonna take a cargo hold full of high-grade metal, but I'm sure that we have plenty of it right here at the airport.
Can you give me a list of what I'll need to build this platform?
Of course. Here's a list of everything you need to find. You're also going to need a massive power source to get the signal interceptor running.
Proctor Ingram.
Any luck building the platform yet?
I glued a bunch of parts together and hoped for the best. Good enough?
Hey, you're the one that's gonna be standing on the thing. If it blows up, it's gonna hurt you a lot more than it'll hurt me. Here's a list of everything we'll need. Now, I know some of that might as well be in Greek, so I'll be around if you have any questions.
Can you explain how this thing is actually gonna work?
According to Virgil's notes, it takes 4 components to complete the signal interceptor. First, we need a control console to input the code sequence and process the signal. That's the easy part. Second, we have the relay dish. That's for the interceptor part of the name. It scans and grabs the proper frequency we need. Third, and the most complex, is the molecular beam emitter. This is the actual component that translates your matter into energy for transmission. You've already built the stabilized reflector platform, which concentrates and reflects the molecular beam. Oh, one last thing before I forget. It's important that all the components are wired together so all the pieces are on a single grid. Otherwise, this isn't going to work. If you need any help, I'll be over at the build site making some adjustments and calculations. I'd wish you good luck, Mike, but I think we're both going to need it.
Remarkable work, Knight. The signal interceptor appears to be complete. You ready to put it to the test?
Lab rats standing by.
All of us are aware of the risks you're taking, and we salute you. That being said, this is the first time we've attempted to directly adapt Institute technology. When we throw that switch, we don't know exactly what's going to happen. God willing, you'll end up inside the Institute, and the mission can continue.
Unless I end up inside solid rock.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that. Now, I want you to listen very carefully. Once you've entered the Institute, we expect to lose contact, so it's imperative you remember everything I'm about to tell you. About 10 years ago, the Brotherhood began recruiting civilian scientists from the capital wasteland to assist with various projects. During this process, we were able to obtain the services of Dr. Madison Li, a noted mind in the field of nuclear engineering.
How did the Brotherhood meet Dr. Li?
She was part of a civilian project in the capital wasteland that the Brotherhood appropriated. It wasn't difficult to convince her to stay. That said, Dr. Li's contributions to our cause were instrumental in maintaining order in the capital wasteland. After some time, she developed differences with the Brotherhood and exiled herself to the Commonwealth. We're fairly certain that her intent was to make contact with the Institute.
What sort of differences?
Although she was working with the Brotherhood of Steel, she never formally joined as a scribe. After the capital wasteland was secured, she objected to the Brotherhood's continued military presence there. I think she assumed we would just walk away from it all. She was wrong. Your mission is simple. Once you're inside the Institute, we want you to track down Dr. Li's whereabouts. If you find out that she's still alive, make contact with her and convince her to return to the Brotherhood of Steel. There's a special project we're working on, and it needs her attention.
What's this project that needs her attention?
Dr. Li previously worked on a potent weapon for the Brotherhood of Steel. We'd like her to continue where she left off. That's all I can tell you. Listen to me, Knight. I'm well aware that you're risking your life going into the Institute blind. Just keep your mind on the mission, and don't let anything they say sway you from your duty. Good luck. Dr. Li is a valuable asset. If any harm comes to her, I'm holding you personally responsible.
I've checked and rechecked everything. I think the signal interceptor's ready to go. Are you?
Shouldn't we test it first?
Not with a single frequency code. The second you arrive and the Institute figures out which signal we hijacked, they'll change the code, and we're locked out. This is a one-shot deal. So what do you say? You ready to give it a try?
I have some things to do first.
Yeah. I wouldn't be eager to jump onto this contraption either.
Let's do this.
All right. Head up onto the platform and we'll see if I can find a signal to lock onto. Pull yourself together and get up onto that platform. Let's see. Relays dialed in. Beam emitters warmed up. Everything looks green. Let me start scanning for the signal. Cross your fingers. I'm inputting the code now. Wow, there's a heck of a lot of interference and ghosting. It's gonna take a minute or two to lock in. By the way, this little trip you're taking is a heck of an opportunity to find out as much as we can about the Institute and what they're up to. I put a clever little program on this holotape that'll scan their network and download anything it finds. If you place it in any terminal down there, it'll do the rest. Bring it back to me and I'll see if I can make sense of whatever it found. Well, well, looks like we have a winner. RF wave capture complete. Ramping the emitter. 60%, 80%. Emitter spiking but steady. All that's left is to throw the transmit switch. Transmitting in 3, 2, 1. Stay safe, soldier.
Hello. I wondered if you might make it here. You're quite resourceful. I'm known as Father. The Institute is under my guidance. I know why you're here. I'd like to discuss things with you face to face. Please, step into the elevator. I can only imagine what you've heard, what you think of us. I'd like to show you that you may have the wrong impression. Welcome to the Institute. This is the reality of the Institute. This place, these people, the work we do. For over 100 years, we've dedicated ourselves to humanity's survival. Decades of research, countless experiments and trials, a shared vision of how science can help shape the future. It has never been easy, and our actions are often misinterpreted by those above ground. Someday, perhaps, we can show them what we've accomplished. But for now, we must remain underground. There's too much at stake here to risk it all. As you've seen, things above are unstable. I'd like to talk to you about what we can do for everyone. But that can wait. You are here for a specific, very personal reason. You are here for your son.
Shaun?
Huh? Yes, I'm Shaun.
Shaun? Is that really you?
Who are you?
Shaun, where is everyone?
Father, what's going on? What's happening?
Shaun, Daddy's gone, but I'm here. Mommy's here now.
What's going on? Father? Father! Shh, I don't know you. Go away. Father! Father, help me! There's someone here, help me!
Who is Father? Where is he?
Father? Father, help me! She's trying to take me! Father? Father, help me!
Shaun. S923, recall code Cirrus. Fascinating, but disappointing. The child's responses were not at all what I anticipated. He's a prototype, you understand. We're only just now beginning to explore the effects of extreme emotional stimuli. Please try and keep an open mind. I recognize that you are emotional, and that your journey here has been fraught with challenges. Let's start anew. I am Father. Welcome to the Institute.
Father. That's your name? Your title?
Father is my unofficial title. It's what I've come to mean to the people of the Institute. Just as you are a parent to your son. To Shaun.
God. All we're missing are the teacups and the white rabbit.
Ah, levity. Excellent. A sure sign that you adapt quickly to stressful environments. But I need you to realize that this situation is far more complicated than you could have imagined. You have traveled very far, and suffered a great deal to find your son. Well, your tenacity and dedication have been rewarded. It's good to finally meet you, after all this time. It's me. I am Shaun. I am your son.
How is that even possible?
I know this is a lot to take in. In the vault, you had no concept of the passage of time. You were released from your pod and went searching for the son you'd lost. But then you learned that your son was no longer an infant, but a 10-year-old boy. You believed that 10 years had passed. Is it really so hard to accept that it was not 10, but 60 years? That is the reality. And here I am, raised by the Institute, and now its leader.
But why? Why take a child? Why take you?
Ah, now that's the question, isn't it? Why me? At that time, the year 2227, the Institute had made great strides in synth production. But it was never enough. Scientific curiosity and the goal of perfection drove them ever onward. What they wanted was the perfect machine. So they followed the best example thus far. The human being. Walking, talking, fully articulate, capable of anything.
Human synths? Really?
Human-like synths. A great distinction. The Institute endeavored to create synthetic organics. The most logical starting point, of course, was human DNA. Plenty of that was available, of course. But it had all become corrupted. In this wasteland, radiation affected everyone. Even in their attempts to shield themselves from the world above, members of the Institute had been exposed. Another source was necessary. But then the Institute found me, after discovering records from Vault 111. An infant, frozen in time, protected from the radiation-induced mutations that had crept into every other human cell in the Commonwealth. I was exactly what they needed. And so it was my DNA that became the basis of the synthetic organics used to create every human-like synth you see today. I am their father. Through science, we are family. The synths, me, and you.
And you've been down here the whole time?
I have. Yes. I know you must have questions. Please. Anything I can do to help you understand.
Kellogg. He worked for you?
Kellogg. He was an Institute asset long before I arrived here. It wasn't until I became director that I learned of all the things he'd done. What kind of man he was.
You knew the man was a psychopath, but you used him anyway?
Would you have preferred that I turned him loose on the Commonwealth? At least keeping him on a short leash kept the collateral damage to a minimum. The Institute took advantage of Kellogg's vicious nature. I will freely admit that. Institute technology prolonged his life, and his usefulness far beyond any normal human lifespan. He never failed the Institute, but his cruelty became more apparent with every completed objective. I won't lie. It's no coincidence your path crossed his. It seemed a fitting way to allow you, us, to have some amount of revenge. What else can I say to ease your mind?
Your father. He never got to see you grow up.
Yes. What happened to him was... I've gone over the records of the incident, of course. It seems what happened to him was an unfortunate bit of collateral damage. For many years, I never questioned who my parents were. I accepted my situation, and that was that. With old age comes regret. And asking what if more often. But what matters now is that you and I have a chance to begin again. What else can I say to ease your mind?
So, you're in charge of the Institute?
I am the acting director, yes. I spent decades working to reach this point. It's a responsibility I take very seriously. The Institute. It's important. It really is humanity's best hope for the future, no matter what those above ground might think of us.
But... Director? Why you?
I was the most qualified for the position, obviously. I've lived my life within these walls, dedicated to science like every other member of the Institute. My hard work has paid off. Ultimately, the Commonwealth has nothing to fear from us. Whatever you've seen or heard, I know I can convince you of that. Just give me time. I know there's more for us to discuss. But the Institute is on the verge of some important breakthroughs. Your presence would be appreciated as we approach them. I've been a part of something amazing here. I've helped to build a life for myself and the people of the Institute. And now, after all these years, you have an opportunity to help with that. Doesn't that intrigue you? Isn't that what you want?
You want me to stay here, in the Institute?
Yes, that is what I propose. Is it so hard to imagine? The Institute can provide a better life than anything above ground. You've been in the Commonwealth. You've seen what it's like. I assure you that you are better off with us.
How can you say that? How can you be so dismissive of all those people? Everything they've done?
Because it is the simple truth. And I believe you know it too. I simply ask that you give the Institute, me, a chance. A chance to show you what I've been telling you. We really do have humanity's best interest at heart. Will you take that chance?
Are you sure you want this?
Yes, I am. It would benefit us both to work together.
I just don't know.
Just give it time. Give the Institute a chance. The Institute is now your home as much as it is mine. Please take some time, get to know it. Meet the people you'll be working with. You'll want to introduce yourself to the division heads. Dr. Filmore in Facilities, Dr. Ao in SRB, Dr. Holdren in BioScience, and finally Dr. Li in Advanced Systems. They've all been notified of your arrival, of course. Meet them, and then we'll discuss what comes next.
Call this a clean floor. Are your visual receptors malfunctioning? Can you not see the grime and dust? Don't make excuses. You're clearly defective, and I intend to report this. Perhaps after you've been disassembled, we can use your components to make something that's actually useful.
Spend enough time
Subject
here,
identified.
and you'll be sick to death
Hey.
of the word
All
synth.
systems nominal.
I certainly am.
Doc?
You know what happens when people get robots to do all their work? They get fat and lazy, that's what. Real people doing real thinking and real work. That's the future I want.
People have no trouble getting fat and lazy on their own.
A few, here and there, perhaps. But not on the scale I'm talking about. I can see you're having a joke at my expense. You're hardly the first. In any case, I suppose I should say, welcome. Perhaps a fresh perspective will do some good around here.
Look, Director, I'm gonna make the same recommendation I did last time. We did everything we could. 4 years dedicated to preserving this Commonwealth provisional government. You've seen the same reports I have. It's falling apart and fast. We need a plan for what happens when that fall is complete. I know some of the other divisions have suggested we just cut off all contact, hide underground, and pretend nobody's home. That would, in my opinion, be a mistake. We can't just give up on it. And with the Android program, we don't have to. We'll soon have the capabilities to deploy androids to the surface in great enough numbers to maintain order.
Drive servo.
Just think about it, all right? Keep it in mind moving forward.
The phase out on these older models can't come soon enough.
Oh, I don't know. Most of them have lasted long past their projected lifespans. If you ask me, they were built pretty well.
I can't argue with that. Even so, I'm ready to see the full Gen 3 roll out.
There we go. All set. Unit, you can return to duty.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks again.
Of course. We're all looking forward to working with you.
The Institute is my life. I hope it'll be yours too. Hey, Doc. They weren't kidding. You really are here. Well, all right. I'm Allie Filmore. You can think of me as the Institute's chief engineer. When Father told us about you, I could hardly believe it. You've been through so much, I think most people would have just given up. If you don't mind my asking, what was it that kept you going all that time?
I just wanted to find my son and keep him safe.
Now that you've found him, I hope you're proud of the great man he grew up to be. Now, I'll give you a quick rundown of the Facilities Division, and then I'll answer any questions you might have afterward. As you might guess, we keep the Institute's mechanical and electrical systems running smoothly. We maintain and upgrade all of the systems that make it possible to live and work in a place like this. There's a lot of machinery behind these walls that recycles the air and water and provides power to the laboratories and quarters. The work we do might not be as exciting as some of the other departments, but it's at least as important. So, now that you're here and you've spoken to Father, does that mean you're on board?
On board with what?
The Institute, of course. Shaun implied you operated on a level, if not equal, then at least similar to the rest of us. Curious. If there's anything else you'd like to know about the Facilities Division, I'm happy to discuss it.
Who built this place, originally? Has it been here long?
The construction of the Institute is the work of generations of scientists. The original survivors of the war, our progenitors, took refuge in the basement of the old Commonwealth Institute of Technology. Over time, their sons and daughters dug deeper into the earth and built increasingly sophisticated habitats and laboratories. It's a process that's still going on today. Even now, we're digging out tunnels for new facilities and infrastructure. Just think what this place will look like 100 years from now. I hope I'm there to see it.
Greetings, ma'am.
Hey, do you need something from me?
Hey there.
Do you have time? It is important to me.
You're pretty distracting yourself.
I had a point, a reason. Oh, yes. My control of feelings is worse than before. And you are no help. With your teasing of poor little Curie. But it is not just you. Sometimes a simple compliment, nice hair, and I am flustered. Confused. Other times, people suggest the strangest and most lurid things, and I am even more confused. Why do people do this?
Because you're so cute when you're confused.
You are not making any of this easier, you. Oh, I must get a handle on this if I am ever to advance my experiments.
She's been at it for over 2 hours. What is she even testing?
Nothing. At this point, she's just doing it for fun.
In case anyone didn't mention it, quiet time runs from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Doctor?
Since you're new here, you should take time to learn our safety procedures. And the sooner the better. Rules create order, and order promotes efficiency.
You sound like my 5th grade math teacher. I hated that woman.
I doubt her rules were a matter of life and death. Fail to follow protocols in one of our labs, you could end up with a serious injury. Or worse. I had some handbooks made up, but that was years ago. I'll see about getting one to you.
How big is this handbook?
Just a few thousand pages, but I like to think it's a brisk read. I certainly find it so. Take care, then.
This is day 8 of Trial 6. The last week has been very productive, but exhausting. I think we'll need a break after this. Benet has done some really marvelous work with the personality mesh. It's almost too good. The responses map almost identically to expectations, some of the most lifelike I've seen. Of course, it's not really Shaun. None of his memories are in there. That, even now, would be a step too far. It's starting to have an effect on the team, I think. I know I've been caught up in the moment once or twice. Just a second or two, forgetting that he's not a real boy. Still, I think we'll need to consider restricting him to the lab only for the moment. I'm well aware that others are put off by his presence. If I were slightly more arrogant, I might consider that a sign of success.
Doctor.
Oh, it's you. You're not authorized to be here.
Authorized to be where? What is this place?
You're standing in the Advanced Systems Division, and you are not a part of my staff. If you want a tour of the place, why don't you ask Father, seeing that he's apparently given you the keys to the castle. Now, can I get back to work?
Is this how you treat everyone? Or are you just putting on the charm for me?
I wasn't aware that I had to answer to you at all. You're obviously here for a reason, and you've already spoiled my experiment, so you might as well spit it out.
I've been sent by the Brotherhood of Steel to find you.
You don't beat around the bush, I'll give you that. I knew it was just a matter of time before your people would track me down. I've been looking over my shoulder for almost a decade, waiting for them to send someone like you to kill me.
Why would we want you dead?
I did some pretty sensitive work for the Brotherhood of Steel. Even though Lyons let me go, there were a few others in the ranks that thought I knew too much. That's why I came to the Institute. It was the only place that I thought I'd be out of the Brotherhood's reach and still be able to do my research. Since Father trusts you, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I might not agree with everything he says, but I know he'd never allow harm to come my way. Say what you came here to say, and then leave me alone.
Are you happy here?
You'd think being surrounded by cutting-edge laboratory equipment and some of the greatest minds the world's ever known would be enough. Only problem is the lack of transparency. I don't think we get the full story on everything that occurs down here. What does that have to do with why we're talking?
The Brotherhood needs your help, Doctor.
Needs my help? Why? They seemed to have everything under control when I left.
Did you abandon any projects you wanted to complete?
You should know better than to ask me that. If they didn't tell you what I was working on, they didn't want you to know. I'm certainly not going to put my neck on the line and spread their dirty little secrets. Tell me something. Why would I possibly want to come crawling back to the Brotherhood? What reason would I have to throw away everything I've accomplished here?
Father trusts me, and so should you.
He trusts you because you're family. I'm not. I can't just take your word for it. I need more than that.
The Brotherhood has always been straight with you.
I am getting a bit tired of all the secrets around here. Sometimes I feel like Father isn't being straight with me. Like there are things I'm not supposed to know about. I don't like that. But still, how can I turn my back on all of this?
Your work could be instrumental in freeing the Commonwealth.
You really know how to push my buttons, don't you? You know, I never understood why the Institute was so damn selfish. All those innocent people up there, dying. And here I am surrounded by technology that could make their lives better. Yet we hide down here and insulate ourselves from everything and everyone. It's not right. It's not right. I'll make my way back to the Brotherhood. But I'm going to have to do it on my own. I can't take any chances being seen with you. Tell whoever sent you that they've just regained the services of Dr. Madison Li. Now, for the sake of keeping up appearances, let me see that Pip-Boy of yours. I've been told to install a courser chip in it for you. Father's orders. You're to be given full access, with the ability to relay in and out of the Institute at will.
Thank you. I'm sure that'll come in handy.
Given that the relay is the only way to access the Institute, handy is something of an understatement. In case the significance is lost on you, you'll be the only one here with that kind of access. If nothing else, it should demonstrate the amount of trust Father has placed in you. Speaking of, I trust our discussion will remain between the two of us. Now, I need to get back to work, and I'm sure you have other things to do.
Scanning unknown identity. Clearance confirmed.
When are you going to tell me about this mysterious Phase 3?
You know I can't talk about that.
So you were there the day the bombs fell. That must have been terrifying.
Sir, authorized personnel only.
So Dr. Ayo thinks he can hide in his office.
Nothing to report,
Well, you can tell him that I intend to speak to Father about these unannounced security sweeps of yours. Ransacking my quarters in the middle of the night is totally unacceptable.
I'll pass along your message, Doctor.
See that you do. When the lights go down and the stars come out, man just forgets about all his troubles.
Excuse me, Doctor.
Welcome, welcome. It is so good to meet you. I truly hope you'll come to think of the Institute as your home.
What do you do here?
Oh, I'm in charge of housing and provisions. It's my mission to ensure that everyone lives a comfortable and productive life. You should know that many of us consider it a great honor to have you here.
It's an honor to meet you, ma'am.
Heading over to robotics to knock some heads together.
What now?
They're dragging their feet on the targeting package upgrades I asked for. Maybe I should take some courses with me. You know, send a message.
Please don't. There's enough friction as it is between us and
Carry
pretty
on,
much all the
ma'am.
other departments.
You going soft on me, Alana? My methods get results, and they will this time as well. You'll see.
Like any machine, a synth can malfunction. Just wish it didn't happen so often.
If you see any
I
suspicious
swear I
synth
spend half my time smoothing the
report it
feathers that
immediately.
Justin ruffles. We need to be able to collaborate with the other divisions, and that's a lot harder when they're always angry at us.
What's Justin doing that's causing friction?
Oh, he's just pushy and demanding. He thinks his problem should be everyone's biggest concern. I have to admit, though, the other divisions have never taken our needs as seriously as they should. Guess they see us as a necessary evil or something. It's really not fair. Oh, just listen to me. It's the first chance we've had to get acquainted, and all I want to do is complain. In any case, it was good to meet you.
Alana.
I know it'll be a difficult adjustment for you, but try to remember that synths aren't people.
Pardon me. So much research, so little time. Excuse me, I've got reports to deliver.
The Directorate should take the synth escapes more seriously.
If the robotics division was a little more careful, we wouldn't have synths trying to escape.
Doc?
So, here you are. Justin Ao, Acting Director of the Synth Retention Bureau. I'll be upfront with you. We're going to be keeping a close eye on you for the near future. Despite your relation to Father, you're a bit of an unknown quantity. I'm sure you understand. There won't be any issues, will there?
Why? Don't you trust me?
I'll be honest. You're an outsider. The first outsider to be allowed access to the Institute in quite a long time, in fact. There's little precedent for this situation, so it's only natural to take extra precautions, It's nothing personal, I assure you. Now, Father has asked that I provide you with a brief overview of the Synth Retention Bureau. Our primary responsibility is the recovery of escaped synths that are hiding among the human population on the surface.
Why would synths want to escape?
Synths do not want. They might look like human beings, but they're machines. As to why they're escaping? That matter is currently under investigation. Our main instrument is the Courser, a third-generation synth assigned to operate on the surface. Coursers hunt down and reclaim synths that have escaped the Institute. They are highly self-sufficient, trained in combat, infiltration, and tracking. In a word, our Coursers are relentless. But I gather you know all this, since you've encountered one already. In fact, I'd very much like to know how you defeated it.
I'm no stranger to combat.
Even so, a Courser should be more than a match for any single combatant. I suppose I'll have to ask robotics to perform detailed diagnostics on the entire production run. As if we don't have enough problems. Now, unless you need something else, I'll get back to work.
If you're the acting head of the SRB, who are you filling in for?
Dr. Zimmer holds that position. He's supervising the retrieval of some of the more high-profile units. In his absence, I keep things running smoothly.
Dr. Ao.
Yes, what do you need?
You mentioned that coursers undergo special training. Tell me more about it.
The SRB constantly monitors our Gen 3 synth population, looking for specific traits. Those who show tenacity, fearlessness, and independence undergo a rigorous training regimen. We teach them armed and unarmed combat, investigative techniques, psychology, and mechanical skills. Those who pass a final evaluation become coursers. The rest have their memories wiped and return to their former duties.
Justin?
What do you want? And please, make it quick.
I'd like to know more about the synth reclamation process.
Fine. Once a courser has located a rogue synth, it uses that synth's recall code to wipe its memories and render it inert. We then begin the delicate process of restoring the neural pathways to their original configuration. In those cases where the procedure is successful, the synth returns to duty with no memory of its time on the surface. All too often, we're unable to repair the damage and are forced to dispose of the unit entirely.
Doctor...
Have you had time to examine my latest reports on Batch 274?
Not yet. I've been reviewing Father's plans to expand our operations at Warwick. He's eager to get that going, so I've had to put everything else to one side.
I wonder how the Warwick family is doing. Young Wally must be close to 10 years old by now. It's remarkable that any child can survive for so long up there, don't you think?
I try not to think too much about it. We have more than enough to occupy ourselves here. Those people are the last remnants of a dying past. It's best not to dwell on the subject.
They're still people, and they're suffering. We can at least admit that it's regrettable. After all, how can we hope to redefine mankind if we can't even hold on to our own humanity?
Well, that's a question best left to our colleagues in the robotics division.
Yes, well... I suppose you're right. Most men lack the patience to observe and document plant growth.
Hey, Doc.
Yes, I'm sure that whatever you have to say is very interesting, but now simply isn't a good time.
Dr. Holdren, I was told you were looking for me.
Yes. The retrieval team supposedly arrived with the surface sample. What state is it in?
Unfortunately, there's been too much harmful exposure for it to be useful. From preliminary testing, it appears the water radiation was lethal.
All the same, I'd like to see it. We could still learn something.
Of course. Doctor, I was thinking, if our modified subject deteriorated so quickly, then how can anything else possibly survive up there?
Frankly, they don't. The surface is still too dangerous for life to truly thrive. That's why what we do here is so important.
Hi.
Did I turn off the interferometer?
It's great to have you here.
Doctor?
Welcome. So good to have you here. Dr. Clayton Holdren, head of the BioScience division. I can't wait for you to see the work we're doing. It's truly amazing.
Like what?
I was just about to explain that. As the name implies, the BioScience division specializes in fields of studies such as botany, genetics, and medicine. Our most important directive is to ensure the health and well-being of everyone in the Institute. To that end, we cultivate highly specialized breeds of flora for use in food and medicine. We've even started to explore the idea of synthetic animal life. You probably saw the gorillas. They're really just a pet project at this point, but the potential is exciting nonetheless.
The gorillas are synths too?
They are indeed. Judging by your reaction, we've done a good job making them seem lifelike. The initiative is still in its early stages, but the prospects are very exciting. I'm sure I've taken up enough of your time as it is, but I have to ask, have you decided whether you'll join us?
I'm an outsider. Would there even be a place for me here?
Even if science isn't your passion, there are plenty of ways to contribute. Our projects sometimes require an agent who can work on the surface to observe and gather information. From what I've heard, you are both fearless and resourceful. I think you'd be ideal for that kind of role. In any case, I imagine you'll want to continue looking around. Or, if you prefer, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Tell me more about those synth gorillas.
On the whole, I'd say they were a success. Their behavior does generally match what our historical data says it should be. Unfortunately, we had a few early setbacks. The creatures can become suddenly aggressive, and they're quite strong. They destroyed 2 of their synth handlers. So now we keep them in an isolated habitat where they can be safely observed.
Personal record, Dr. Brian Virgil. This will likely be my last recording.
My requests to shut down the FEV program have repeatedly been denied. We've learned nothing useful in the last 10 years. Why does Father insist on continuing it? If he won't see reason, then I have to take matters into my own hands. What we're doing, it's not right.
Now that you've had a chance to see the Institute firsthand, what do you think?
First things first. How do I get back to the surface?
The same way you got in, of course. You are not a prisoner here. You may come and go as you please. Ultimately, all our knowledge and resources are focused on a single goal. The goal is best summarized by our motto: mankind, redefined. Unfortunately, no advancement comes without occasional setbacks. As remarkable as our synths are, they can be dangerous without proper supervision. The superior synth mind and body attempting to wrestle with something approaching free will can be a recipe for chaos.
So, it's like every other wonder gizmo ever invented. When will you eggheads learn?
Have faith. Let me show you how we deal with such problems. A rogue synth has taken over the Raider gang at Libertalia. His memories have been erased, and his identity altered. He believes he's a man named Gabriel. Under his leadership, the Raiders have taken many innocent lives. I've dispatched a courser to Libertalia. I'd like you to join him and reclaim that synth.
Sure. We'll just fight our way through an army of homicidal maniacs and ask this synth to come on home.
I didn't say it would be easy. But I'm confident that with a courser at your side, you'll have no trouble. Now you should get moving. Many people are in danger, and a delay could cost lives.
I think he's actually lost his mind. I can't believe he really expects me to do this. I've always been on board with the Gen 3 program. It makes sense, but this? Nothing good can come from this. How am I supposed to explain to my staff that Shaun wants a child synth for no immediately apparent valid line of research? And to base the physical features off records of his own childhood? It defies all logic. No, I can't do this. I won't.